The other day we were talking a lot about the new album, so today I was planning just to talk a little bit about some other things because I got all the things from the new album. So I would like to ask you a little bit of your starting in the music business when you were young. How did you start playing guitar? Because probably at that age there were not many books, guitar teachers. So how was the
Well, I didn't have a guitar teacher. I taught myself.
uh
I got a book of chords. I learned some chords, and then I just started listening to records, listening to guitar solos, and you drop the needle down on the record, and you could also play a 33 album. You could play it at 16, and then the solo was half as fast. So you could try to figure out the notes and figure out. So I taught myself, you know.
And did you have any other friends your age that they were playing as well in the school or?
Yeah, I did. I had friends at school. Not, I started playing guitar at 10, and I didn't really have any friends then that played, but around the time I was 14 or 15 and went to the big high school, then I started meeting kids that played guitars, and we'd jam and go into their basement and smoke some pot and try to play a Beatles song, you know.
I get some chicks.
Yeah, it was about the music, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. And at what was your first? I know you were in a band that you were playing. I think like for many artists like Johnny Hooker and Big Mama Thornton, like that. How did you started playing? When was the first time that you just got hired for a band and start playing like seriously?
Well, I started playing in bands when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was playing in bands when I was in high school, and I always played in bands. As far as playing with somebody that you might know, there was an old blues man named Louisiana Red. I don't know if you're familiar with Louisiana Red. You can look him up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he actually lived in New Jersey, and I played with him when I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept going, man, you know.
Wow. And how was playing with some, legends like Big Mama Thornton, Johnny Hooker? How did that?
Well, that was great. That was education. I mean, you couldn't come out with Big Mama Thornton and play a Jimi Hendrix solo. She'd throw you off the stage. You had to play their music, and you had to try to tap into their way of thinking and what it was that they want in their music, right? And that's why I was a successful sideman, because when I'd get hired by somebody, I would go home and listen to their music over and over and figure out what they're trying to do. And it was not about me trying to show off or something. It was about trying to make that person sound good, right? And I knew that's what my job was.
Mm-hmm. You just remind me. I had a friend that I studied in Boston music, and he was a saxophone player. And he got to play with a local singer in Boston that he got a famous hit. Can't remember. It was like the Ice Cream Man or something like that. And he was legendary guy. Like, and he got in his band, and he told me the first day he just started playing like some kind of jazz lines with the saxophone, and he said, "Hey, just fucking play pentatonic. I don't want this jazz shit."
You know something? Some years ago, my God, 30 years ago, I used to do these tours in Europe, and especially like Germany and the Netherlands, and they were called the Jimi Hendrix Tour. And there'd be 3 guitar players, and we had a band of Dutch guys playing behind us. And I went to the first rehearsal for these guys, and they're well-known Dutch guys. And I started going like John Lee Hooker. I started going boom, 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 boom. And the bass player went, and I stopped the band and I said, get out. I said, and I went to the promoter and I said, I just need a guy that goes bomb, 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 bomb. I'm going to go, don't let and it's funny, that bass player and I are very good friends now. And he's an incredibly well-known bass player. I won't give you his name, but we laugh about it now. That the first time I ever met him, we played together for literally a half a minute. And I told him, get out of here.
but that's reality. I mean, I think that most musicians, we are always trying to learn scales, play fast, and learn many things. But it's like you said before, like a session, that the most important for a player is know where he is and what's good for the song and for the style you're playing, and that's it, right?
Yes. Exactly. And I am at the point in my life now where I think, you can go on YouTube and there's 10-year-olds playing Eruption, and there's some 10-year-old playing Yngwie Malmsteen stuff, and it's to the point now where technically great guitar players, there's a million of them, You go on there, here's a guitar lesson from some guy you never heard of, and he's playing Eric Johnson, just like Eric Johnson, right? And so I have realized that I now want to play less and have it say more. I'm not out to try and impress people with technical ability. I now think of myself as a songwriter, singer who also plays lead guitar, but I don't want the guitar to be the main thing people are listening to with me. Because you can go on YouTube and there's a million great guitar players. Great guitar players are now a dime a dozen. They're everywhere, So it's about the song, it's about the singing, it's about that. I made a joke to my wife and I said, think of me as Bob Dylan, but I can play lead guitar,
Well, two things. One about that. One is that, like you mentioned, like singing. I always say that it's terrible. I mean, I feel it's my opinion, but I feel it's not terrible, but it's like not good that there's many guitarists that when they write a song like that it's supposed to be for a band with singer, they write the melody with the guitar. So
Yeah.
it's terrible because they write melodies that with a guitar sound okay, but for singing it's completely anti-natural. And I always tell, if I have students that write songs, I said, just if you have to sing that song with the band, just sing it. Just compose it singing, not playing the guitar with the melody.
Yes, because you need to be able to sing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You repeat a lot of notes when you sing.
Yeah, you can't write something that you can't sing. Then you come out to sing it and you can't do it.
Yeah. That's true. And now you mentioned Bob Dylan. I remember 3 or 4 years ago when I first did the first interview to you, I asked you because you have this live recording, No More Free Jokes, that I used to have it I have it in CD from many years ago. And I always wonder who was Lynette, because you play a Bob Dylan song, Girlfriend on Our Country Fair, I think it is. And you dedicate this song to Lynette, and then you told me that was your mother, right?
It was my mother, and the reason I did that was when I was a teenager, and I'd be sitting in the living room with my acoustic guitar. My mom would say to me, "Hey, Walter, sing that pretty Bob Dylan song, would you?" And I would go into Girl from the North Country, and she would start crying. And so I'd always have done that song for her, because that's what she always asked me to play, And she would always cry. and it was very emotional.
And did you met Bob Dylan or had any chance to play with him or?
I've never met him. I'm not sure I'd like to meet him because sometimes I've met some of my heroes, and after I met them, I wished I had not met them.
Yeah, but some of the heroes, by the way, you are one of my heroes. I have CDs from you and vinyls from you, so and you're
Yeah,
a
but
very
I'm
nice
just
guy.
saying
So.
I've met some very famous people
Mhm.
that after I met them, I went, wow, what a great guy, man. Wasn't that cool? And then there's other famous people I meet, and after I meet them, I go, God, I wish I hadn't met that guy. I can't listen to him now. Buddy Rich, I don't give a fuck how he plays the drums. I met him, and he was a prick. He was he attacked me physically
Oh,
for asking him for an autograph.
wow.
So he was one of my heroes until I met him, and now if I see a picture of him, I start shaking, you know.
Well, I mean that's exaggerated reaction, but I think also it's we also have to have the point of view that sometimes you meet a famous guy that is not in his best day in life, and sometimes he's a prick because probably had
Yeah,
a
of
shitty
course.
day. So I always try
And,
to
and I'm aware of that. But still, there is a very, very famous, one of the ultimate blues guitar players who's been around for a long time and is no longer alive, who I will not name. But I really wish I hadn't have met him because I can't listen to him now. And I grew up listening to him, you know.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. Well, sorry to hear that.
And I didn't just meet him once. I met him 3 times, and each time he was an asshole.
Uh-huh.
So at that point, I'm like, I don't want to hear this dude,
But
you know.
but then I read that you met Duke Ellington and that was a changing point in your life. It's that right?
Duke Ellington was the nicest, kindest, warmest, humor, charisma, gentle. He had an aura about him. He glowed with. He was a godlike figure to me. I was 10, and he treated me so wonderfully, and he was amazing to be with. Yes.
Wow, man.
And I said to my mother, I was 10 years old, and I said, if being a musician makes you like that guy, that's what I want to do. And then 4 years later, I met Buddy Rich. And I told my mom, I don't know if I want to be a musician. You know?
Well, you can always go to the joke that he's a drummer. He's the best friend of the musicians. So,
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
wow, but you have met many people and you have shared stage with many of the greatest. I would like to know which musicians have been the most that you have enjoyed sharing stage or playing with them. And if there's any musicians that you would love to do it and still haven't done it.
You know, that's a very easy thing, and that is Mr. John Mayall. I was with him maybe 6 years, a little more than 6 years. I played all over the world with him. I made 3 records with him, and he was the most fun, just the most fun guy to be around. The whole time I was there, it was just fun, laughing and having a great time. And so sharing stages with him was always joyous. Just, yeah. That man loved being on stage. He loved it. He lived for it. And when you were on stage with him, it was contagious. You felt his joy. And you couldn't stop it. It infected you. You became full of this joy of this man who's over here having the time of his life. So that was a great experience. Now, as far as somebody I'd love to play with sometime, I would love to just get up and play a song with the Rolling Stones. I did have a great chance one time to get up and jam with Little Feat, who are one of my favorite bands. and they let me go off, man, and I had a great time with Little Feat. And that was many years ago. But I'd love to play with the Stones while they're still going. I love those guys.
Oh, I remember I got the chance to interview David Page, Toto's keyboard player,
Yeah,
and he told me that he got to record keyboards in 2 or 3 songs from Keith Richards because I think the bass player told him, "Oh, I'm gonna introduce," and he said that for the first time in my life I was so fucking shaking, Keith Richards,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
he's a great. Toto is very famous band, but like your idols are always your idols, right?
yeah, yeah. They're incredible. Those guys, I think. You
Yeah.
know.
And in the era you were playing with John Mayall, we talk about it, that you were playing with Coco Montoya in that band. That band, I saw them live. I saw you guys live, and that band was awesome. And John Mayall used to he played with some of the greatest guitarists like Jeff Beck, Clapton. Did you have any? Did you feel pressure when you started playing with him, or it was like relaxed and?
Okay, here's a great story right about that. The first night I played with John, he was started doing all these songs off the Beano album, right? The Eric Clapton album. And I had studied that album. I knew every solo note for note. So I played the Clapton solos. I felt that's what he wanted. He wanted those solos. He wanted that. And I played all the Eric Clapton solos. And after the show, he knocked on my hotel room door and he came in. He was very, very nice, but he said, "Walter, if I wanted Eric Clapton, I would call him up." And this was beautiful. He said, "I hired you because I love the way you play. So I want you, when you play those songs, I want you to be Walter Trout. Show me what you've got.
Mhm.
Forget the past." He said, "You are free to be yourself." And that freed me because I felt like that band had this tradition and I was trying to be a part of the tradition. John wanted to take those songs somewhere else. He wanted to not be stuck in the past. He was never one to be stuck in the past. He was always about the future. So he freed me then. And I grew as a guitar player so much then after he freed me. But that first gig, I felt that pressure and I played Eric Clapton fucking note for note, man. And he was like, "No, don't do that."
Well, I mean, I think when someone tells you I hire you because I like how you play, I think there's nothing more beautiful than that, you know.
Yeah.
Vision. I think I wanted to ask you like for me in the last years, one of the most emotional concerts I went was, and actually I ended up crying like for like 15 minutes in the middle of the concert, was watching Bad Heart playing in Berlin. And
Yeah.
I recorded Broken with her, so I would like to know if you can tell me how it was working, because she's so emotional and she's one of the greatest singers ever, but she's like a very emotional, at least on stage. So how was working with her and, you know.
Working with her was amazing. She's been a friend for a long time. And a couple of guys that have been in my band have gone through her band, and we're all friends, and we all live in the same place. We all live in LA here. And when my wife and I wrote that song, I had Beth in mind with that song because that's a song about being a drug addict and an alcoholic and also having mental issues, mental problems, which I've dealt with and I know she has. So I did a demo of the song and I sang it and I sent it to her and I said, "What do you think?" And she sent me a video the same day and she said, "You have written my life and I have to sing this song with you." And so she came in the studio and she is incredible. She sang it. We said, "That's great. it's beautiful. She said, I want to sing it again. We're like, well, what you did was great. She goes, no, but I want to sing it again. She sang it again. She sang it like 20 times. And we keep going, we have it. It's great. And she goes, but I just love singing it. So let me sing it again, you know? And she did like 20 versions because she just loves singing. And every version she did, she put her entire heart and soul into it. And she took that song to a whole completely different place than I even knew it could go. She took that song and took it to another level of beauty and emotion.
Yeah, she's great. When I saw her in Berlin, she just sang like 6 songs straight away, just like piano, she playing piano and by herself. And for me, it was one of the most impressive things I ever seen live in a concert. It was so emotional, so profound. I mean, and she's very good playing piano too. I mean, it's like
she also plays the cello.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Cello.
Wow.
Now, this is a weird story that 40 years ago, when I was in canned heat, whenever I was at home from touring, I had the house band at a little bar at the beach here. I live in Huntington Beach. I'm right on the Pacific Ocean. And there's a little bar down the street, and I had the house band there. And the head bartender at that bar is now Beth Hart's husband. So I've known him for 40 years, Scott.
Wow.
Small world out here,
is
man.
That place that you used to run jam sessions? Because I wrote in your bio that...
I ran jam sessions. John Mayall played there, Mick Taylor, Garth Hudson. The list goes on and on. And for a while, I had the great Jesse Ed Davis on guitar, and I had Richie Hayward from Little Feat on the drums. And people had no idea. We're playing in a little bar and they're dancing, and I'm up there with fucking Mick Taylor and Jesse Ed Davis, you know.
Wow.
I have another interview with Spain, so I'm getting a lot of press in Spain. This is great.